everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vivianoseni, and on this channel I talk about everything nursing, lifestyle, motherhood and all the hoods, beauty and everything in between, and every good stuff. So if you like any of those good things, be kind enough to subscribe to this channel, like, share to anyone who needs to see these videos, and join the family. Welcome back, friends and all. Okay, so today I got a request from a subby who says I should do a video on tips to passing Ielts. I know Ielts can be a very worrisome examination. It's the limiting factor, but then, like I always say, you can do it. So let's get right into this video. In my experience, I did IELTS 3 times for different reasons, and on these 3 occasions I only didn't get the 7 band on the first exam, but on the subsequent 2 examinations I did get the band 7 and even above. So yeah, I'll be talking basically on my experience and what worked for me. Quick disclaimer here, I'm in no way affiliated with IELTS or British Council in the IELTS examinations. Everything I'm going to be telling you today is strictly basically my personal experience, what I think worked for me and that I think would work for anybody writing these examinations. So do well to do your own research and know what works for you, and I wish you all the best. So let's get right into this video. First off, I wrote IELTS examinations 3 times for different reasons. On the first time, I didn't get the cutoff of 7 in my reading. I had the score 6.5 and I knew what happened. I panicked. So that's going to give me my first tip for you in the IELTS examination, which is not to panic and to use your time appropriately. Okay, so, and this comes from practicing the IELTS examinations already at home by yourself. Now, you have practice questions on the British Council website. You even have a booklet that's filled with IELTS questions, and you have a lot of materials online, IELTS buddy, tool buddy, loads of things on the website about IELTS on Google. So yeah, and like I said, particularly for me, I didn't use a lot of those things. I strictly use the British Council materials provided when I registered for the IELTS examinations online, and that is all I needed to practice, and that is what I did until I passed. Okay, so I know this may not work for everybody, and that's why I'm telling you that there are loads of websites out there where you can practice for your IELTS if you're sticking to write the IELTS examinations and not going to try the OET examination. Alright, so for me, I stuck strictly with the British Council materials that were online and the practice sessions that were online for how many hours, I believe, was it not 60 hours or something or more? So I strictly went through those materials online, one after the other, solved the questions, knew my strengths, knew my weakness, worked on my weaknesses. Where I needed speed for me to be faster, I repeated those examinations and picked up on my speed. And then it opened me to the fact that the IELTS exam is very broad. You don't know where the questions are coming from. So I had the mindset that whenever I'm going for these examinations, I'm not going to look for medical questions or scientific questions. It can be anything. Just be open-minded and just open your mind to understand the question and to be able to answer the question appropriately. So that's what the IELTS examination practice questions did for me. So my first tip is for you to learn your time management and to manage your time properly so you do not panic like I did in my first examination. Okay, and I found out that the questions that were even after were even cheaper than the questions that were before, which I had wasted all my efforts in up until the time where I had just less than 50 minutes to go and I had like 40 questions to answer. So I ended up having 6.5 in the reading the first IELTS examination, but that didn't happen subsequently. In my subsequent examinations, I managed my time properly, and I did pass my examinations above 7, even up to the 8. Okay, so that's my first tip: manage your time properly and don't panic. Now, for the IELTS speaking examination, the only thing I can tell you is just to talk. Try to maintain conversation with sense, with points, understanding what you're talking about, and try to layer your discussion on what, when, who, when, and how. The 3 W's and a H: what, when, who, when, and how. These are kind of things you'll be describing. You could be describing a person, you could be describing a place, you could be describing something. So focus on speaking about topics, about events, about places, about human beings, about persons, about qualities, and also have a good command of adjectives describing things. That's going to help you. You can be asked to describe a person, describe a place. If you're able to know the terms that you can use in describing places, then no matter what they ask you to prescribe or wherever they ask you to describe, you know what to say. If you know the terms to describe a human being, no matter the kind of person they ask you to describe, you should know what you should say. For instance, you're asked to describe a house. Okay, I know a house that is a very beautiful, massive, antique, or a cake, or old school, or in the 80s feel, that's situated in a place you mentioned. This massive, beautiful edifice is one that I love because you begin to describe. It's a monumental piece in my community. It's, begin to use those words that describe things. You just begin to say things and that goes in that line. So learn your adjectives, learn your qualifying terms, learn your descriptive verbs, so that no matter what you're asked, you're able to describe the things. If you understand what I'm talking about, if you're asked to describe a human being, then you say the person I'd like to describe is, for instance, say your friend is my friend whose name is Nkiruka. She's a very lovely human being, very kind at heart and in person, soft-spoken. She hails from XY place. She is a very beautiful, tall, dark, beautiful lady with those qualities. I like her because she's very kind, she's kind-hearted, she's a person who is open to people, who is loving, who is giving, who is able to sacrifice for people. Now, from all I'm saying, I may not have any particular person in mind. Do I have somebody in mind, by the way? But what I'm trying to say is, if you know your descriptive words, you should be able to describe human beings, persons, places, or events. Now, these are things that you have to do your homework by yourself in getting these descriptive terms. And then, for instance, try to describe a place, a person, and then when you're able to do this, you should be able to describe anything in the IELTS examinations and pass it, especially the speaking examinations. And plus, if you go through the British Council material I told you I used, you should be fine. And that's for speaking. Now for writing. Now my biggest tip for writing in the IELTS examination is keep it simple, nice, and calculated. Keep it together. Don't try to speak bogus grammar. I'm telling you, if you don't know how to use grammar, don't bother trying to use. You are going to definitely flop. Believe in you when I say you're going to flop. So don't try to overdo it. Keep it simple and together. You don't have to go writing big grammars that you cannot bring together to make sense because you're trying to increase your grammar count. Believe me, even the British Council's material that I saw, the writing examples that were given there were written in simple, basic English. Now, if you're somebody who's very good with grammar, go ahead and you have good command of your English grammar, go ahead. But if you don't have a good command of your grammar, please don't go about making grammatical errors in your English writing exams. Keep it simple. I cannot overemphasize this. Keep it very simple. Trust me, less is more when it comes to the IELTS examinations. You just focus on making your simple writing contain the basic things which they need. Connecting words, different words, good understanding of your synonyms, words that have the same meaning but have different words that have the same meaning. For instance, you used to say up, you say higher. Instead of saying down, you say lower. Instead of saying up, you say above. Things like that. Understanding these things, that you have a good command of vocabulary. Keep it simple, but then together. Be calculative. In all the examples given by the British Council, I've not been writing big grammars. It's good to know big grammar, have a good command of vocabulary. That's the most important thing, not grammar. So you don't go ahead making grammatical errors. So, tip is, have a good command of English and vocabulary at your fingertips and make it simple, but keep it together. Have an understanding of how to use your connecting words in bringing sentences together. Have good understanding of synonyms, words with the same meaning but different terms, things like that. That's what stands you out in your writing examination. Also, use of descriptive languages, just in the same vein, the way you describe things, person and places, the same way, bring it into writing and give them the same thing. Paragraph your work, make it clean, neat, and above all, ensure you have the appropriate number of words. If it says 250 words, do not write less than 250 words, because if you do, you lose marks. If you write above 250 words, that's fine, but make sure what you're writing makes sense, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Don't write above 250 words and write nonsense. Instead, keep it within your 250 words, but ensure that you're making it simple, easy, and together. That's my biggest tip. No matter what you're asked to write about, like place, person, place, time, events, name it. And their topics are usually either political, social issues, economical issues. So be up to trend. Be in tune with what's happening around you, because you don't know, they could bring up a topic about what's happening in recent time in your environment. So that's it for me about your writing examinations. Your connecting words, your synonyms and antonyms, your grammars, your vocabulary, your command of vocabulary, your ability to flow. Keep your writing simple and together. And that tip is, you can write with your pencils. Instead of making errors with your biro and erasing and looks all untidy and cancelling, write with your pencil. That's what I did. And if you find that you've made a mistake, you can easily clean with your eraser, write back and continue to write, and your work is clean and tidy. Don't worry, they're able to read your papers with the pencils. It's fine, and it's not going to affect your score or anything. So if you're comfortable using your pencil like I did, do it by all means and you'll be fine. So I've talked about the writing, I've talked about speaking. Now I'm going to talk about the reading examination, which is where I actually failed the first time. So, and I'm going to tell you what I learned. So after doing these reading examinations, I have discovered that the IELTS examination, I may be wrong. And like I said in my quick disclaimer, I'm not in any way affiliated with the British Council. All I'm saying is based on my personal experience, and which I believe is going to help anybody or any persons writing the IELTS examinations. Now, I discovered that the IELTS examinations is kind of sequential, the reading examination especially. Now, in the reading examination, just look out for the sequential appearance of answers. That's the only way and the best way I can explain it, because I don't have a question to show you guys. But when you go back to study, you'll find out what I'm telling you. For instance, you're in the first paragraph of the first question on the reading exam. The answer comes first in the first paragraph. The second paragraph has an answer to question number 2. The third paragraph has a question to number 3, to question number 3. And the fourth paragraph has the question to answer to question number 4, and the likes till you get down. So if you waste your time in paragraph number 1 looking for the questions in number 1 and 2, you may be wrong. And sometimes 1 and 2 may come in one paragraph. But what I do know, and I'm sure I noticed, is that these answers are usually paragraphed. Number 1, paragraph 1, number 2, paragraph 2, number 3, paragraph 3, or sometimes number 4, paragraph 4 and 5, depending on the number of questions you are being asked in that set or in that series. So that's my number 1 tip for you. Look out for your first question in the first paragraph. Once you've seen your answer, move on to the second paragraph. Even the Ielts examination tells you to skim. So that's the way I skim. I read the first paragraph, answer my first question, go down to the second paragraph, answer my second question, and I don't need to read the whole second paragraph. That saves me time, 1. That saves me speed. And that gives me speed, 2nd, and it gives me time to focus on other things. Now you go to your third paragraph, you look for your third question, answer it, and go down straight to your fourth paragraph and answer the fourth question. Does that make sense? Have you finished your 10 questions quickly in less than 20 minutes? I'm sure you have, through the skimming process of going through the paragraphs per question. Now, I said it is sequential. The questions are sequential in paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That way you find all your questions and you move to the next section of the reading test. Okay, I have given you the highest clue that I know that has worked for me in that examination that I have seen occurring in other examinations. They are sequential. First question in the first paragraph, second question, second paragraph. So you don't have to read the whole large questions once you answer the question already. Okay, so that's my tip for you guys in your reading examination. Alright, sometimes we need to read your paragraphs for understanding, but then what's the essence of skimming if you have to read your paragraph? You run out of time, you get anxious, and you don't even get to answer the remaining questions. That being said, that's it for the reading examination. Now for your listening examination, my clue and tip for the listening examination is that you should just be attentive. Be attentive and be able to anticipate answers ahead of time. Like depending on the topic you're talking about, you're reading your questions, you're listening at the same time, you're anticipating what's going to be asked, and you're giving your answers. I don't know if it makes sense. Sometimes you can hear things that you think is wrong, but then it may be the right answer. So kind of jot it down. Even the examination gives you the opportunity to jot down and 10 minutes to think through your answers. So especially in those places you're not very sure of what your answers are or what you think the answers were, just jot what